Hey, it's Kevin. Thanks for stopping by the blog today. We're talking about getting thinner. Sadly, not me. Although I think I've lost a couple of pounds this week. But I'm not talking me. I'm talking, well, stuff. In particular, and here's what got me started on this thing. Other day I wasn't feeling too good, and one of the things that helps me get rid of a severe headache, in addition to aspirin, is a good plain old Coca-Cola. So I went to the drugstore, I think it was Walgreens or something like that, and picked up a Coke. Now, I don't buy them in the 20-ounce bottles very often anymore, and in fact, don't buy them a whole lot anymore at all, especially the regular leaded models. I'm usually into the Diet Coke or the Coke Zero. But I picked up the bottle, and the one thing I noticed is just how thin the plastic was. Remember the old Coke bottle, man? That you could injure a child with a Coke bottle, especially if it was full. But now, look at this. You could never do that with an old Coke bottle. Not only that, I mean, the plastic is amazingly thin. The top even is smaller. It used to be a good, I don't want to say a half an inch, but at least a quarter of an inch thicker, or taller, if you will, on the bottle. Now, I know the reality. The reality is they're doing this to save cost, as well as for recycling to help the environment. You know what? I'll give you that. That makes sense to me. But what I fear most, and one of the things I've noticed, is the thinner the plastic, the tougher it is to keep it cold. I don't know scientifically if that's the truth or not. It's just one of those things that I've seen. I've really noticed that with water bottles. In fact, pick this one up the other day. I don't normally get Deer Park water, but they've made a big deal. In fact, on the back, they now have smaller labels, which equals more trees. That's their way of notice the big green logo on the side. Thinner labels. They used to be taller. Okay, but hey, not only that, again, plastic. Man, these things crunch now. Look at that. And they don't snap back anymore. Now, again, I know that helps the environment. I know it's easier for recycling. But again, and I've noticed this with water, thinner the bottle, it doesn't necessarily stay cold. More things, and it just happened today, just coincidentally enough, I'd been thinking about doing this post the other day, but hadn't gotten around to it. I stopped at Taco Bell, don't tell the wife, to get a drink. Okay, and something to eat too. And I noticed when she handed me the cup, it almost flew out of her hand because it's so thin. I mean, I've never been able to do this with a, you can do it, but and it's not even snapping. It's just, man, it's thin. Well, not only is the cup thin, but the lid is now thin. You couldn't just take it on and off easily without possibly tearing it, without it possibly falling off and not going back on. And what I fear most is if I grab it too firmly, it'll come smashing and soda will fly out everywhere. Again, I know it's a cost savings, and I know there's some ecological value to it too. Final one, and the one that actually got me started on this post, was I had to go buy some cough syrup the other day. And you know how it comes with a little plastic cup on top of the cough syrup? Well, this is the little cup. And I know you can't really see the thinness or the gauge of the plastic. But, again, it's got some mobility to it. Well, I went back and found an old cough medicine, or it was actually a Mucinex or something like that, and noticed the plastic cap on that. And, man, one of those measuring things like that, that's sturdy. Again, number one, it's clear versus opaque. That's something that I can use over and over again. I'll be honest with you, I've got to be really careful when I take a sip out of this one for fear of, trashing it and not getting all out of the medication out of it. I understand we need to go green. I understand we need to cut costs. And I'm not even going to start going into a rant about how what used to be half gallon of ice cream isn't a half gallon anymore. How, the little snack cakes aren't as big as they were. I'm not even going to complain about that. I'm just worried about necessarily, is the product going to become inferior because the vessel with which it's contained in isn't as good? Something to think about, or maybe I'm just overreacting, as I have a tendency to do from time to time. Have a good one. Back with you tomorrow with, more ranting, I'm sure.